My name is Juan Francisco, and I'm a psychic medium and tarot card reader. I've always been curious about the supernatural, the paranormal, and psychic abilities, and I'm here to share my stories and interview folks who want to share their own stories with us. Let's get to it. Hi. That was creepy. That was a creepy way to say hi. Hello. I hope you're doing well as you listen to the first few seconds of this podcast episode. Just a heads up, I am dog sitting an adorable little doggy, and he may want my attention. So if you're watching this on video, you may see him on video. If you're listening to this just through audio, you may hear his pitter-patter of his paws. So today's podcast episode, I want to focus on the topic of evil spirits and demons. And I don't like to even mention those words. And maybe there's this old part of me that gets nervous talking about this subject. But I'm not going to talk about this subject in a way that's celebratory or is endorsing anything regarding evil energy or negative energy. I want to talk about just my experience with evil energy, quote unquote. And I wouldn't even call it evil energy. Because I think there is sometimes among some groups of psychics divides over, is there such thing as evil energy? Is there such thing as demons? Is there such thing as attachments? And I have my opinions. Surprise, surprise. I'm a guy with a podcast with opinions. Shocker. So first, I just want to say that if you're new to this podcast, I grew up Roman Catholic. And I also... pardon the cough. I grew up Roman Catholic, and I also went to a Protestant high school. So the idea of hell was very prevalent. And I grew up watching a lot of spooky movies. I grew up watching movies about exorcisms and horror movies that had to do with demons and ghosts, evil ghosts. And so I had this fear growing up of evil things and scary things. And when I had my first spiritual awakening, I think I did believe in some kind of hell, but I was slowly, since the age of 21, 22, I was slowly moving away from this idea that hell existed or that the devil exists. And there is a podcast episode I have focused on, does hell exist, on that question. And I share my thoughts on that, and I don't believe in hell. And I won't necessarily say that I believe in a place like heaven. I believe in heaven, but I don't believe that there is a good place that is opposite to a bad place. I believe that heaven is all around us, and heaven is all that there is on the other side. So I don't think there is like a positive afterlife versus a negative afterlife. And so I like to call it heaven, but I want to clarify what I mean by capital H heaven. To me, heaven is all there is on the other side. That's heaven. Pure bliss, authenticity, love, unconditional love, and oneness. That is heaven. And I don't believe in anything other than that on the other side. Unless I get proven wrong. I may be proven wrong. Now, I do also believe that there are such things as lower level energies, low or more negative energies. But I don't believe there is this hierarchy of there's a devil and the devil has his demons, and I don't believe in that. And here is why. I'm going to base my opinion on my Catholic and Christian, my Christian upbringing. And I think growing up, I would wonder, well, why would God... The story of Lucifer, who became Satan, the devil, is that Lucifer was an angel that fell. And I just think that's so dramatic. So dramatic. Lucifer fell, was damned to this place called hell, became the ruler of hell, and became a snake to tempt the humans, the creation that God made. And Eve ate from the apple, convinced Adam to eat from the apple, and they were with sin. And not until Jesus Christ comes along is there the opportunity to be saved from that sin that the devil tempted, that the devil started, and that Adam and Eve gave into. So you look at this whole story. That's my understanding of the Christian doctrine that I grew up with. I look at the story. I pretty much took the book of Genesis, the first chapter, 2 chapters of Genesis, and the salvation story. I put it into like this nutshell. Why? What's the reason? To me, God is simpler than that. That's just my opinion. Like, why all this dramatic stuff? Why, if God is amazing to me, God is all there is. Why would God create this drama, this back and forth, these conflicts? Why would God let that happen? Now, there are bad things that happen in the world today, and you can easily ask the same question: why would God let this happen? I believe in free will choice, and free will choice means that somebody can make a decision that's going to harm somebody else. That's free will choice. That's part of free will choice. And there are some things that people do that I cannot explain away and that I think are horrendous. At the end of the day, I know that free will choice it's a thing. It's what exists in the universe. And I also believe that on the other side, all there is bliss and unconditional love. And that means that I do believe, because I know in the physical world, there are people that act from a low energy POV, or act from this negative energy, from a place of negative energy and resentment and everything that negative energy embodies. There are people that function from that place and choose to. Then I can only also believe that on the other side, there are energies that are just as low. But I don't believe they're damned to anything. And I don't believe that they are these demons that walk around looking for people to possess. I don't believe that personally. I believe that we welcome the energies that we are putting out. We welcome the energies that we call on. If I'm a very bitter person, I'm going to attract negative energy through other people. And whether I'm attracting negative energy in the afterlife, from the afterlife, I'm not so sure about that. One of the reasons that I do not want to play with a Ouija board is that I know a Ouija board, based on what I was taught growing up, to be an evil thing or a dangerous thing. That's a preconception I have. And I mentioned this in my Ouija board episode in the last year. So I know if I play with a Ouija board or use a Ouija board, I'm going to have this preconception. It's not a very clear mindset with which to use a spirit board. And because I know it to be a game, I've grown up learning it was a game. So because I have gamified connection with the spirit world through playing with the Ouija board, I may invite lower energies on the other side that are not there for the purpose of healing. Does that make sense? Oh, here's this little doggy now. my little dog sitting doggy here wanting attention. So it's all about the energy we put out there. So to kind of like clarify what I'm trying to say, do I believe in demons and evil spirits? No. Do I believe in higher vibrational energies and lower vibrational energies, that they exist, that both exist? Yes. But it's no different from, I'll just put it this way, from my human nature. I have the ability to act from a place of higher vibration or a place of lower vibration, and I've done both. So there's nothing that is out there in the ether in the afterlife that doesn't exist in all of us. It's just about what we want to access, what we want to tap into. And that's the difference. So when it comes to evil spirits and demons, sometimes I wonder, because there are people that have really interesting, very intriguing, and to me sometimes very compelling stories about experiencing evil spirits and demons. And I don't want to dismiss those stories because they sound terrifying and they sound traumatic. And I can only say what I believe based on my personal experience, and I'm open to being proven wrong. But sometimes I wonder, what was that person's state of mind before they have that experience. Because if I'm somebody, for instance, that tends to see life in a very negative light, tends to see people in a very negative light, tends to view myself in a very negative light, I wouldn't be surprised if I have a spiritual experience and see it through a negative light. Now, I also wouldn't be surprised if I attract lower energy, lower vibrational energy from the other side, because I have such a negative outlook on life. I remember there's one friend I used to have who told me that she had a portal in her former apartment and it was too much. She really disliked the energy. It was just very off-putting, and it was dangerous energy from the way she described it to me, from what I remember. I remember thinking, and she wasn't a friend for a very long time. I hate to say that. And the reason is she was somebody who was quite negative, in my opinion. And so when she told me that, I wanted to honor what she said, and I thought it was very interesting, but I kept it to myself, the fact that I didn't really know what to think about what she was sharing with me about this portal, this negative portal. But one of the first things I thought was, number one, I don't know if I believe that, but I also don't think she has reason to lie about it. And number two, well, given that it was such a negative experience, I'm not surprised, because she is quite the negative person. I'm not saying that people who are sad or angry about things, that they deserve to experience negative things. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we have the decision to look at our lives, look at our relationships through the lens that we select. And if we want to see things through a negative lens all the time, we might experience something negatively. To me, that is very, it's something that I've come to learn as something that I just consider common sense. But I know it's not easy for everyone to hear that. It's not easy to believe that. So I grapple with the whole evil spirit demon thing. I still do, because I want to say exactly what I just said, that, oh, maybe it's that person's state of mind, the way that they're thinking about their life. Maybe it's their mood that is affecting how they are interpreting a spiritual experience or interpreting a hardship in their spiritual journey. But then I also know that people have really compelling stories about evil spirits and demons, and it's like, but I've come to this point where I'm going to say, I don't know. I just believe what I believe. I have my opinion. But also, let's say that evil spirits and demons are real. Because I'm not saying they absolutely don't exist. I just don't believe in them. But that doesn't mean that they don't exist. I don't have any proof. Let's say that they are completely real. Well, I have no reason to even think about them. Why even think about them? If it's not going to serve me any purpose to think about them or to dwell on the thought of them, why do it? So it's almost like whatever I don't think about, whatever I don't give my energy and my thought energy to, doesn't exist to me. So it's not going to bother me. I mean, I've never heard a story of an atheist having a demon step into their house and mess things up. Maybe in horror movies, but well, here's this other thing. I've seen some near-death experience interviews where there are people that say they saw hell. But then there are other people that say they saw heaven, and heaven looked different to different people. There are some similar themes, like a tunnel, a light at the end of the tunnel, and seeing loved ones who have passed. But for some people, heaven was a big garden. For other people, it was a train station. For other people, so the afterlife seems to look different with some common themes and motifs, but the afterlife seems to look different depending on who's talking about it. And I think that the afterlife, I really do believe that the afterlife, the other side, sometimes molds itself to an image or an experience that we can understand and that we can register. It's almost like the story of the Lady of Guadalupe. I think his name was Juan Diego. The Virgin Mary appeared to Juan Diego, who I believe was an indigenous man, in the form of an indigenous woman. Now, we know that there are a lot of Christians that want to say Mary and Jesus were white, okay? That's a whole other podcast episode. But the story of Juan Diego and the Lady of Guadalupe is that she appeared in a way that he felt familiar with. She looked like his own kind. And I personally do believe, whether we believe that story is true or not, I personally believe that spirit, that God shows up in ways for us that we can understand, that we can relate to. So maybe if we have a frame of mind or a state of mind that is a certain way, the other side and the spirit world is going to reflect that back to us. I don't know, man. It's a lot to think about. Why did I choose this topic? Because I'm just going to end this episode with, I believe what I believe, but I really don't know. But I think it's interesting because there is a lot of talk among it's psychic Instagram that I've seen in the past about like casting spells or like protective prayers so that negative energy doesn't get like penetrate your aura and I do believe there is a lot of importance that we should place in doing protective energy prayers. I do them before my readings. I do them sometimes after my readings. But it's not because I'm afraid of evil spirits. It's because I do not want the energy of the person I just read to stick around and this is the thing, it's not that the client is sending me energy. What energy am I allowing to get to me? Like if the client was very anxious during the reading, I want to honor how anxious they were feeling, but after the reading ends, I don't want to dwell on how anxious they were because it might make me feel anxious. And that's not the client. That's the thing. It's not the client's fault. That's my responsibility to protect my energy. People are just showing up in the way that they can. And so I do believe there is something very important about doing protective energy prayers and grounding exercises. But I think it has less to do with evil spirits and more to do with those low vibrational energies that I talked about, that we all have the potential to act from low or high vibrational energies. I want your thoughts because I just said a whole bunch of things and I don't even know if I make any sense. And I'm sure there's some things I've said that will make people go like, what's wrong with you? And this is the thing. If someone were to tell me, but Juan, you should believe in evil spirits because they're real, I would never tell somebody you should believe in something evil. Like, just let me, maybe ignorance is bliss. And you know what? If my ignorance means that I will not ever think about evil spirits or that they won't bother me because I don't give them the time of day, great. I don't have anything to worry about, hopefully. But listen, if something changes in my life and I have an experience with something evil or demonic, knock on wood, that better not freaking happen. Because this is the thing, I feel protected. I know that I have God with me, and I'm not special because you got God with you too. You got the universe. The universe has your back. But I only feel that confident about that because I decide to acknowledge it. If I decide to not acknowledge the universe or my God that I believe in, then I'm walking around feeling very differently about my life and about other people and how I function in the world. That's just my own experience. That's how I feel. So it's because I have confidence in knowing that God is with me, I feel like I don't have much to worry about. So, I don't know. I think it's a state of mind thing in some respects, but what do I know? I'm just a guy with a podcast with an opinion. Shocker. Let me know what you think. Have you had experiences with evil energies? And I want to distinguish between scary, spooky moments and evil. Because I have been spooked. I have been scared by ghosts. But it didn't mean they were evil ghosts. My human, Juan, my Juan human, was just scared because it was something I couldn't see doing something in the room with me That's not the same as evil. That's spooky, but not evil. So I just want to say that. If you have a story that you felt like, if you feel comfortable sharing that you think was something evil, I don't want to say that I want to hear it, but I'm curious to hear about it because I think it's important to learn about things, to open our minds. And if it means it's going to help other people, I think it's important to share about it. So let me know. Send me an email, DM me on Instagram, do your thing. Until next time, bye. If you have a question or topic you want me to cover on Third Eyesight, head to my website, juanfranciscospirit.com/contact, and send a message my way. If you really enjoyed this episode, leave a review wherever you listen. I'd really appreciate it.